DiMatteo of the Ask the Pharmacist group. Thanks for tuning in with us today. How do you spell fatigue relief? Why am I so tired? I mean, so many of us battle fatigue, tiredness. We're always tired. We're always run down. It's almost as though we're always out of gas. Why is that so? So I'm going to take a few moments, what I would call a quick and a skinny overview on what are some of the underlying components, some of the underpinnings to this. We'll subsequently do some other teachings that will be much more detailed. This is a quick 15-20 minute overview. So I want you to pay close attention. We're going to talk about the underpinnings as mentioned, and then maybe some support that you can do. Number one, demands of life. Cell phones, pagers, email, stress at home. There could be issues, everything from being a caretaker, caring for an elderly parent, having a number of young children, a husband having a stressful job and a stressful environment in the workplace, a mom with a lot of issues at home, trying to work, trying to hold down a job, take care of a home. I mean, the list is endless. Watch the news, watch the media, see what's going on in the media, many of the issues that we confront each and every day. There are a lot of stressors in our daily lives that are continually drawing, and you'll hear this word time and time again, on our reserve system. Our adrenals are our reserve system. There could be numerous issues that'll lead to fatigue, draining you just from a stressor standpoint. Let's move forward to maybe some labs, some blood work. Now again, this is not the substitute for a visit to your physician, etc. This is to give you some ideas, some insights at what might be behind the fatigue issues that you're battling. Let's think about some blood work. Have you ever had a B12 level? You should have one. If you're suffering from fatigue and you're always tired, you need to have a B12 level. Have you had iron levels done? Red blood cell, hemoglobin, hematocrit, a basic CBC, but also ask for what's called a serum ferritin, much more specific marker in your iron levels. Have you had a vitamin D level, a 25 OHD level? Have you had a vitamin D level? Have you had a thyroid workup done? And if you have, is it the correct thyroid panel? Many of you go to a physician, the thyroid blood work is incomplete. We need 3 key markers. Write them down. A free T4, free as in Frank, free T4, a free T3. If you do not have a free T3, we have a huge problem. You need to have that. A TSH, which is standard with most thyroid blood work, and maybe even ask your physician to run a thyroid antibody screen. Basic labs, B12, vitamin D, iron, serum ferritin, complete thyroid, free T3, free T4, TSH, and maybe some thyroid antibodies. Why would we want to know this? Because these could be underlying biochemical issues that could be underpinning some of your fatigue. They could be life issues, stress, demands, caregiving, stressful work environment, going to school, work. All of those things drain your reserve system, or they can be very functional, some very, very crystal clear labs. So I hope you're following me so far, some real basic components that I think you need to consider. Let's move forward to more practical issues. What could also be influencing my fatigue, my tiredness, and how do you spell fatigue relief? Bottom line, your diet. Many of you eat way too many carbs. You eat way too much sugar. We do not eat enough protein. We skip meals. So my basic functional food is not functional at all. It's very dysfunctional. Many of you do not ever, literally can go through a portion of your day without eating a live, real food. You don't eat raw nuts. We don't eat enough fruit, vegetables, raw fruits and vegetables. Why? Because they contain literally oxygen and live enzymes. One of the best ways to oxygenate your system is with live foods. If we eat all processed, prefabricated foods, we're going to run amok from a basic energy standpoint. So as we continue to move through this, I'll summarize at the end, but these are just some basic thoughts. Hypoglycemia. Many of us suffer from hypoglycemia. We eat too many sugars, too many refined products. Our blood sugars spike initially, then they drop. leaving us with a hypoglycemic tendency. That puts a lot of distress on the adrenal system. Next, we, in many cases, drink too many energy drinks, too much caffeine. They put a tremendous workload on your adaptive energy system, your adrenal glands. Many of us drink too much alcohol, also antagonizes the adrenal glands. And as already mentioned, too many sweets and too many processed foods. I would recommend that you begin to drink water early in the day and consistently, throughout the course of the day. Unless you have renal failure or some kidney damage, you need to drink water liberally. Half of your body weight in ounces at a minimum. If you weigh 200 pounds, you should have at least 100 ounces of water in your day. And you don't drink it all at one time at 4:30 in the afternoon when you remembered. You drink it pulsed throughout the course of the day. Blood sugar imbalances, huge issue. Wrong types of foods, huge issue. These all contribute. Drink water, green tea. Green tea has theanine in it, L-theanine. L-theanine has a calming effect on our brain and actually helps even from an adrenal function standpoint. So we've covered some very functional areas. What is stress? What are some of the labs? How does diet and what I drink play in? Why am I so tired? Let's move into another area. Sleep. Many of us absolutely do not sleep well enough. Many of us suffer from sleep apnea, which is more of a functional issue. There could be structural impediments. We could be overweight, carrying too much weight in through our midsection, compressing our visceral organs, visceral fat. Compressing even the diaphragm so that I can't expand and contract and exchange my gases and receive oxygen well. Sleep. Some of us just don't sleep well. You don't necessarily have to have sleep apnea. We just have disrupted sleep. Why is that so critical and so important? If you don't sleep, you don't repair. I need you to be able to sleep, because if you don't, there's no way the body can physiologically repair. Many of us go to bed entirely too late. We stay up too late. It's in many cases not out of necessity. We just get hung up with the computer, email, reading. Many people just tell you, well, I feel more at peace at night. I'm just in a habit. The kids go to bed, whatever, and I like that quiet time. Staying up too late, 12:30, 1:30, and then getting up early the next morning, you short-circuit many of your key hours for reparative, restorative sleep. Okay, sleep. Whether it's sleep apnea or I just have disrupted sleep patterns, many have broken sleep patterns, and I don't want to deal with that in this particular teaching. We will in another teaching, but that needs to be dealt with. If not, there's no way I can repair. Let's move on. Let me stop there for one moment. Repair. And when I say that, and I don't know that I'm getting that message across, but when we sleep, I always say that it's almost as though the little worker bees come out. And little worker bees, in essence, help us to literally repair damaged tissue. Cellular energy. See, your energy does not come from a central site. This is why we get into trouble. This is why we become addicted to caffeine, addicted to sugars, addicted to refined carbohydrates, refined products, because they give us a boost, but it's temporary, with a blood sugar spike, or caffeine or stimulants that drive the central nervous system, but that's not where your energy is produced. Your energy is produced literally in every cell in your body, times trillions. Each one of your cells produce energy, mitochondrial energy. That's where your energy is produced. We need to be able to repair those cells. Let's move into the cellular energy concept. Cellular energy is a big issue. I mentioned the right types of foods, more live foods, more real foods. Bring snacks of fruits, vegetables, celery sticks, carrot sticks, dip them in nut butter, eat raw nuts. Do not be afraid to use these types of foods as snacks. Eat hard-boiled eggs, organic, free range. We won't get into the cholesterol issue. It's a bunch of nonsense. Eat a hard-boiled egg during the course of the day. Balance and stabilize your blood sugars. But the main thing is attempting to energize then the cell. Remember, there's not a central site for energy. It's this entire body broken into individual cells, mitochondrial output, ATP. That's where you generate energy from. But all of the things that I've talked about all culminate and give you the ability to be able to generate energy. How do I develop energy at a cellular level? Well, there's a couple of issues, and actually I have a couple of concepts here that maybe we'll talk about in a moment, but we use a product called OptiFuel. It has carnitine, CoQ, D-ribose. There are some products and essential nutrients that are in here that can help you improve cellular energetics. That's ultimately what we're after, but you can't bypass some of the basics that we've talked about. Carnitine, B12, we've talked about. We'll come back to that for a few moments. We've talked about central nervous system stimulants. I think when I talk about that, it's caffeine or things that drive us. Drinks such as, gosh, you know the names of the drinks. You go into big box stores and grocery stores and they're piled and they're stacked up. All of these energy drinks, they're not energy drinks. They're stimulants. They're artificially stimulating you. They leave you high and dry. They give you a temporary boost, but they leave you down low within 2 to 3 hours. You put your body on a pendulum, that's absolutely not what we want to do. Let's talk now, as we finish this segment, about the adrenals. Ultimately, your adrenal glands, two walnut-shaped organs that sit above your kidneys, are your organs of resilience. You produce catecholamines, what are called catecholamines from there. You produce adrenaline, etc., which we need. Cortisol, DHEA. You have an adrenal cortex, an adrenal medulla, portions of the adrenals that put out these, almost, if I will, these types of neurohormones that help you to battle and deal with stressful situations. Your adrenals are your organ of resilience. Now, you could, God forbid, have disease states. I'm not talking about disease states of the adrenals here. I'm talking functional issues with the adrenals. So disease would be Addison's disease or Cushing's. Addison's meaning that the adrenals are not functioning at all, or Cushing's, which is hyper output of the adrenals, too much cortisol. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about folks that do not have diseased adrenals. Now, again, we can talk a little bit about saliva hormone testing. And when you do a saliva hormone testing, or even some new information talking about some good forms of urinary testing as well, to evaluate your cortisol output, your DHEA output, so that we can see and track on a circadian rhythm how your adrenals are actually working. Adrenal reserve. So let's move into the last section here, and I hope you're getting something from this today. Rhodiola, a particular, well, two products in this adrenal distress guard. There are two key ingredients, and this is one of my favorites from an adrenal support standpoint. The key ingredients here, the rhodiola, actually helps to produce or support the beta endorphins. There's literature that shows that workplace, how an individual functions in the workplace, stress in the workplace, their sleep patterns, how they deal with stress, depressive states are all aided by one of the ingredients in here. Why? Because it activates the beta endorphins, what's called the monoamine oxidase system, and is very, very helpful to helping your adrenals. The other ingredient here is magnolia. Magnolia helps with stress and anxiety control. And really, how does it do that? Well, what we do know that magnolia and phellodendron, the other ingredient in there, is actually technically three, but the magnolia and the phellodendron are combined. You actually have the ability to rebalance and restabilize your cortisol and DHEA levels. That helps to restore energy, functional balance to your body. We also know that they can actually activate or attach to stress hormone receptors. So in a way, almost giving your adrenal glands a bit of a crutch. It helps them get through because the actual components in here help to activate those stress hormones and actually go in and attach to those receptors. Two key ingredients. One, restoring cortisol and DHEA imbalance. The other one, activating more the beta endorphin system, which would be things like adrenaline, dopamine, very, very key compounds. Buffered vitamin C. You cannot use another nutrient that is more effective than vitamin C. Vitamin C is an adrenal adaptogen. It does many things, which I talk about often. One of the things it does is helps your adrenals adapt to stress. not in one big bolus dose. I forgot to take it during the day, so I'll take a bunch tonight. You should take vitamin C, especially the buffered ascorbate forms, throughout the day. Early morning when you get up, late in the afternoon, bedtime. It's what I do personally. It'll help your adrenals. So we start with an adrenal support compound that we just covered. We talk about buffered vitamin C as a very natural adaptive mechanism for your adrenals. The energy producing compound at a cellular level, it has things like ribose, acetyl-L-carnitine, coenzyme Q10, a little bit of magnesium. It's got nutrients in there that help cellular energetics. The other one, depending upon your B12 level, and if you have a B12 level done, is to use a sublingual form of hydroxycobalamin. Maximal absorption, very effectively taken up, can almost mimic what you would do through a shot or a B12 shot. Wonderful approach to helping cellular energetics. The last area that we have is magnesium. Magnesium essentials. Why is that so important? One of the ways that we generate and can build ATP, energy production within the cell, is with magnesium. Magnesium helps you to do that as well. So, fatigue, tired. Why am I so tired? We covered all those areas. Life stressors, life issues. We need to have some blood work done that can define what could be functionally disturbing your energy production. How does the diet impact us? Hypoglycemia, not enough protein, too many carbs, too much sugar. Stimulating energy drinks, big problem. We covered that. Too much alcohol, too many sweets, too many refined. Sleep. I need to be able to sleep. I need to be able to get reasonable amounts of sleep so that I can repair and don't bypass key areas of sleep. Cellular energetics, as we talked about, and then ultimately the real key is building adrenal reserve, eating well and using some key nutrients to help you to do that. I hope you've learned something in this little teaching. I know that a lot of you struggle with this issue, and I would hope that you're learning how to spell fatigue relief. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next teaching.